Today, I just wanted to introduce to you the biggest strategy that I've used throughout my career to get commercial cleaning accounts. And this can apply to janitorial, commercial carpet, commercial tile, any of the specialty cleaning services. And what I want to do is share with you a couple quick stories that I experience in real life and then show you the tool to actually do it. And what this is about is the strategy is discovering opportunities and thinking about opportunities before your competitors, trying to jump ahead. That this is one of the best ways for long-term growth is to jump ahead, especially if you get in on a fast-growing business and they have 10 employees today and then they grow to 50 or 70. Well, they're going to stick with you in most cases throughout that growth. So you just grow organically and you don't even have to sell anything. You just grow with them. What this tool is called, and this is a macro tool, and it's called PEST. And basically, what it is political, economic, technology, and social. And that's all we're trying to do is think about what the future holds. You know, what the world's going to be like a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now. And by reading newspapers, attending maybe public chamber meetings, uh, reading the local business journals, if you just scan through this stuff on a regular basis, you'll start to get a feel for who's growing, where new buildings are going up, and what industries are really growing so you can target them. And this is a great way to get ahead of your competition. So I just want to tell a couple quick stories about something I experienced here. And in our case, it was political. Charter schools in the early 2000s really took off. And I was following it in the paper, and it was on the news all the time. So I wanted to jump ahead of everybody else. Once the school opens, of course, everybody's going to start calling them because it's a private school, so they're non-union, so they can hire contractors. But I didn't want that to happen, so what I did is I started to I would read the paper, find out where their office was, and I would start to talk to them before they even chose a building yet or built a building yet. And that way I was getting ahead of everybody. So this is an experience. And at one point, we were up to 50 grand a month in charter school cleanings, and I think we cleaned 4 or 5 of them, maybe even 6 of them at our biggest point. And the point is, I got in front of them early, and I would help them, and I would share with them, you know, what their product costs might be for paper products, garbage bags, and what their cleaning costs might be. When they started moving in, I helped them build desks. I did all this stuff to help them while they were going uh, through this transition. And so then once we were in the door, other companies would start calling them, but they were loyal to me. So this is one example of a political uh, where I was following the politics and I jumped in front of it. So I want to give you another example of a headquarter building that I read that one of these large companies had this big headquarter building here, and they were going to move in a year and have a new one built. Well, I read that that was happening. So what I did is I started to call and mail that facility manager a year ahead before they even. Now I knew they weren't going to change companies when they're in the middle of a move, but I wanted to plant the seed and make him familiar with me and familiar with our company name. So when they did move to that new building, they were going to bid it to 3 companies. I wanted to be one of those 3 companies, and it worked exactly the way that I planned out. A year before they moved, while they were still building the new building, I was calling on the facility manager. I was mailing them. I was introducing myself to them, and what happened is they took bids about a month before the new building was to open, and I ended up being one of the 3 bidders, and we ultimately ended up winning the bid, which was a big contract. It was about 20 grand a month back then, and that was for janitorial, carpet, everything. So to wrap this up, the tool that we want to use is called Pest. And here is an example of a card. You can use an index card, you can just use a Word document. The goal is for every month, every week, every quarter, something to be when you're prospecting, to be thinking about the future, to be thinking about um, these big macro events so you can jump ahead of them.